Elon Musk is a fantastic example of say shit all the time. And when you're right, everybody's like, oh my gosh, Elon Musk is a genius.
He predicted this.
Right.
And when you're wrong, everyone forgets. My favorite example of this ever is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger did an interview once where the interviewer was like, Mr. Schwarzenegger, you've done a lot of movies. And why have you done so many bad movies? And he was like, because nobody remembers my bad movies. But I had to do a lot of movies to get enough good movies that people remember.
There you go.
And when you think about it, right? What movies do you remember Arnold Schwarzenegger in? And I'll bet you have movies that just rattle off in your brain.
right,
where you're like,
sure.
Big name movies.
Terminator.
Yeah.
He was also in a bunch of bad movies. Can you list more than 2 of his bad movies? Nobody can. And that's the human experience. Elon Musk is just he's a fucking autistic dude.
Right.
Who understands the math behind it.
Right.
So he just talks about whatever is on his mind at the time. And eventually it either turns out to be right and everybody gives him credit for it, or it's wrong and nobody notices or remembers.
So we essentially, our only interest in there being a dictatorship in Venezuela is because we want the oil. We want to, I think Trump am I right? Is it when Trump was president, there was a guy who was running against Maduro who wasn't even an actual candidate.
Juan Guaido. He was a
brought him to the
graduate student at George Washington University. This was fucking John Bolton's genius idea. They didn't like the result of the election. Now, one of the things that people forgot is the likes of the National Association of Attorneys, the Carter Center, the United Nations. They sent election observers, just like they did last week.
To Venezuela.
Yeah. And they said, yeah, there were a couple of problems, but not enough problems to change the outcome of the election. For all intents and purposes, it was fair enough and legal enough. We didn't like that.
At least as fair as ours, right?
Yeah, seriously. So they said, no, we recognize Juan Guaido, this kid from GW University. He's going to be the new president of Venezuela. And then, of course, we bully the European Union to jump in and say, yes, we recognize Juan Guaido. Well, Juan Guaido didn't know anything about running Venezuela. In fact, I remember a public opinion poll where most Venezuelans didn't know who Juan Guaido was.
Most Venezuelans don't know much, though.
Yeah, well, that's true. Although they're very good at kidnapping.
They learned it from the Colombians.
Yes. So I remember John Bolton taking questions in a press conference where one of the reporters said, but Mr. Bolton, what about the provision in the Venezuelan Constitution that says that if the president doesn't take the oath of office within 30 days of the election, that he's no longer the president? And Bolton was like, because he had never read the Venezuelan Constitution.
So fresh, so